Hello everyone, my name is Monique Gutierrez and I'm doing my speech over the Black Plague. The Black Death originated either in Asia or Europe. They're not exactly sure where it came from, but they know that it came from that region. It existed as early as 300 BC. It killed about 25 million people from the years of 1347 to 1351. It's believed to have been the result of plague and infectious fever caused by the bacterium Yersinia pestis. The disease was likely transmitted from rodents to humans by infected fleas. So infected fleas is how the plague came to be. Other names for it is the pestilence, the great mortality, and as we know it, the bubonic plague. The plague arrived in Europe in October of 1347 when 12 ships from the Black Sea docked at the Sicilian port of Messina. People gathered on the docks were met with horrifying surprise. Most sailors aboard the ships were dead, and those still alive were gravely ill and covered in black boils that oozed blood and pus. The infected rodents would sneak onto the ships. The ships was how they traveled back in the day to transport goods and services. So the ships were always moving. They were going from town to town. They traveled hundreds and thousands of miles every day to get their job done. That's how they survived. And the rodents sneak onto the ship, were killing everyone off. And that's how the plague spread so quickly. There's 3 kinds of plagues in humans. There is bubonic, pneumonic, and septicemic. The worst one is pneumonic. It could kill you as early as 14 hours from when you contract it. It was the deadliest plague. It would directly affect your lungs. The plague affected Europe's social economic because you have the peasants and serfs as the lowest class. Basically, we're living in poverty. Knights, nobles, and king and queens were the highest up. So the king and queens would allocate their land to the nobles, and the nobles would hire on the peasants and the serfs to do the dirty work. They would grow the crops, they would grow the food, they would take care of the land basically, and they did all of this for free. They did not get paid. The only way that they would survive was by the food that they grew themselves. It affected their medical knowledge and practice. Doctors based their medical knowledge on the work and theories of the Roman physician Galen, Hippocrates, and Aristotle. It was old theories that they found that they tried to go off of because everything else that they were doing was not working. They tried animal cures, potions, fumigations, bathing in urine, religious cures, and as we know it, quarantine. It affected their religious beliefs. The clergy came under the same kind of scrutiny and inspired the same or far greater doubt in their abilities to perform the services they claimed to be able to. Everyone was dying. The priests, the monks, the nuns, they were all dying, and everyone was left questioning their faith. They were wondering why the plague was happening, what they did to deserve it, if there was their punishment. They even formed groups. So these groups would travel from town to town, and they would atone for their sins by whipping themselves. They wanted to punish themselves for whatever reason. And at one point, they even started blaming the Jews. They blamed it on Jewish sorcery, saying that the Jews were the cause of the plague, killing off so many people. And they would burn the Jews. They would kill them. The Black Death pandemic took a greater toll of life than any other known epidemic or war up to that time. It killed off about 1/3 of Europe's population. It left the towns with like a 30 to 50% mortality rate. The plague didn't necessarily end, as it returned years later with a vengeance. Officials, however, were able to control it better by isolating arriving sailors. The sailors were initially held on their ships for 30 days. As soon as the sailors got to the town that they needed to get to, they would immediately quarantine for 30 to 40 days. Now antibiotics are available to treat the Black Plague, but there are still up to 1,000 to 3,000 cases of plague every year. So it's still not all the way gone, but now there are antibiotics to treat it. And that is my speech. Thank you.